Okay. Welcome, Larry Crist.
Wow. Well, thank you. This is a great turnout. Last week, Tara Hardy was here, and I was going, next week will be half empty, but no, it looks about like it did last week, so it's great. That's wonderful. Thank you all for coming out. I love hearing my poem paraphrased. That's great. And I always dislike when I hear before a reading that I wrote this today, but I did write this today. And so I actually wrote it yesterday, but I typed it up this morning, so the work begins on it. But this is, I thought I'd start with just a couple new things, and then I'd launch into some of the stuff from the book that is not out, but is on its way. This is loosely called Life Warranty. We weren't meant to last this long. The teeth, the back, the liver, the brain, the heart beats with a limited warranty. The skin can only keep its sheen for so long. The hair comes in and goes quickly out of style. We weren't supposed to outlive our hips or feet. The neck can only hold up the head for just so long before the spine declines. And all that crazy cavalier knee action, the fencing, ballet, football, squats, long-distance sprints, the connecting cartilage, those once thin ankles and arches in the feet take one hit too many and buckle. Yeah, this part still works okay, but it's not enough, and it will all go piecemeal. Piecemeal it goes. The cells rebel and go to hell, and sometimes it's somewhat merciful, like how the eyes might before your own face looks back from the mirror and screams, "What happened to you?" And you no longer hear the warnings. That tiger you once chased is chasing you. You with your dreams intact, the same ones you entertained at 17, back when you peaked but were too stupid to know it. When the brain trailed behind like a puppy fighting its leash, and everyone fawned over it because it was so cute and fuzzy and ill-equipped to make sense of the world, leaving little else but to scratch behind its floppy ears, watch it slobber and smile as it is barely able to walk for wagging its tail, leaving small puddles of pee wherever it goes, forgetting even as it begins to remember. Well, I'm going to take a bit of work still, but thank you. Got that one out of the way. Okay. This, by the way, is great beer. 6.2. Okay. This is not in the book, and these first couple aren't. These are new, so these are going to another book. This is where my lady love and I live. This is called Here on Sodom and Gomorrah Way, and you can figure out if you can figure out Seattle where this is. I know Ron knows. Okay. Here on Sodom and Gomorrah Way, where the wicked and wretched come out to play on Used Car Row with its gyrating, undulating, air-powered sock people, where pre-owned girls wiggle and shake on sticky tables, on low-flung stages, gliding and sliding on greasy poles, polished in petroleum and pussy sheen, performing for lonely men and then some, a place called Rick's, across from Dick's, up the way from Deja Vu, Pandora, and several other joints just like it too, where traffic drones eternal and a bus is always chugging by, belching, growling to and fro, dollar stores, pawn shops, discount, gun and green dispensaries, hair and nails, Truffaut, Value Village, dive bars, Fred Meyer's, $10 haircuts, car tows. We have it all. Blacktop rock gardens, discount dentistries, vast stretches of hemmed-in cyclone-fenced monotony, soon to open apartment complexes where working class rubs up against the jerking class, where hustlers and honeys cohabitate beneath a jizz-colored sky. We even have a cemetery, a great place to consume one's head shop purchases, a reserve retirement living services. Swan dive slowly or dine in fast if need be. 24/7 drive-thrus, drive-bys, driving all night. We never rest. Masturbatoriums, Walgreens and fire engine sirens. where everyone lives in austere compartmental bliss, drives a car with a dent, enjoys a good party, a good fight, here in the AM where it is never dark and duly bright. What are you waiting for? A written invitation? Consider this your invite. Give it to that big guy beside the pink door over there, the one with no neck and little hair. Tell him Larry sent you. I'll be up the road walking in a trance, bleeding copiously and waiting for an ambulance.
Woo!
Got the cockatiel all excited over there.
Exactly.
Pretty vocal bird. Okay, I got a bird poem coming up right after this one. I got some animal stuff here. This is also new. This is called Little White Dog, and this is from that same neighborhood that you might have already figured out where it was. Little white dog, without ever seeing it, I can tell it is little and white as it barks through the night and mornings as I try and sleep. Its sharp, shrill, unhappy yap fills my ear. Whenever anyone walks through the alley between our place and theirs, this little ballistic pierces, dices, mutilates the otherwise dull calm. It trumps the autodrome, sirens, and so on. On it goes, this tiny sentry from its little yard. Yap, 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 yap. Curious as to what it defends, I walk by in daylight. It is quiet, a TV is on, and it looks like its person has lived there an eternity. The small yard is full of crap, it looks sad and reeks of despair. I would really like to kill the little white dog, put it out of all our misery. Then one day it stops. The barking is gone. I listen for it. I'm glad, but I don't trust the quiet. I keep listening for it. This sound of it no longer there. Did someone else beat me to it? I don't know. It's as if my thinking might have killed it. I listen to all the other sounds in this less than quiet neighborhood to which the little white dog is apparently no longer a member. I don't miss it, but I wonder over its sudden departure and how it always seemed to find the worst possible times to bark. Whenever I had just fallen asleep or was dreaming or had just finished making love and was feeling serene, it seemed to possess an uncanny ability as to when it could best jar my consciousness. I was beginning to feel an odd respect for it. I might have put on really shiny boots before stomping it to death, or buying an extra tender cut of meat to fill with the finest shards of glass, but I was not prepared for it just to leave me like this. How dare the little white dog just leave without giving me a little yap goodbye?
Woo! Yeah.
Okay, this is for the birds in the audience. This is, I have this little love affair with the crows, and I'm kind of slowly making friends with them and stuff, so they come and go, and, you know, so this is a crow poem. Everybody's got one. It's called White Wings. White Wings is what I named this crow, whose wings, when spread, reveal distinctive white stripes. He perches on the branch just outside my window. He grokks and always looks pissed off, or hungry, or both, and I rise to bring him peanuts or chips or bread that I place on a tray duct taped to the railing upon our deck, while he and his ilk move in warily like bashful pallbearers. They move like reptiles with their large, sturdy claws, tyrannical-styled bodies, flighty attention. They steal in and steal away, kleptomaniacal across the sky, like karmic transmigration had just been summoned. They know people are not to be trusted. Their suspicion matches my own. Each day I try and win them over. Their prejudice did not materialize from thin air, as they so often do. I thrill upon seeing them steal across the sky with their fresh swiped booty. Watch as they eat and argue on the sharp pitch of the neighbor's roof. As a former thief, I know it is always better to steal than to beg. I soar with White Wings and his murderous row, lurk, wait, hunger for what will and won't sustain a crow.
Woo!
Thank you. Okay, well that's it for the new stuff. Now we're going to voyage back. God, I tell you, man, going through 20 years of your stuff is just not anything I envy on anyone. So that's what I've been doing. did it all tonight again, trying to get this down to something. So anyway, I'll be checking in and see if I go long enough. But this is starting with the book. There's we go into a few little different chapters here. I got 4 different sections in the thing, and this is kind of in the beginning. My parents. This is a good place to start. My parents were so very serious. He wanted to change the world. She wanted to save it. She took him on because she believed in him. He wanted her, well, because she believed in him. He would have been bigger than Hitler had he only known how. She was naive and altruistic. Neither of them ever laughed, and why should they? She wanted justice for all, and he, well, maybe he didn't know either. Something to do with truth, perhaps just defining the term. In any case, as their lone representative and only tangible creation, I remember thinking at an unbearably young age, they were weird. And not because they were parents or even my parents, they were weird as people. Naturally, I rebelled. I became a comedian in defense, a dreamer by necessity. I dreamt we were in a big sitcom and none of this was going on. And some couple years later, our show got canceled. Thank you. Little sympathy applause. I know we can all talk, we can all tell these stories, but anyway. This is called Pine Box Derby. Another cruel indignity foisted upon me, this time through Cub Scouts. My Pine Box Racer. They all look the same out of the box. Mine remained the same until the day before the big race when I remembered I was supposed to do something to it. I sanded down the edges some and painted it black, flat black, the kind they use in theaters to make things disappear. My mother attended race night with me, the only single mother in a sea of mothers and fathers, but mostly fathers. Fathers with power tools and sanders and high-gloss paint, and perhaps allowing their sons to touch their racers for the first time. Each boy placed his racer on the wooden downward track. I lined mine up among the others, many of which had decals and numbers to distinguish them. Mine, however, did not require any such superficiality. It stood like a crow among peacocks, an Edsel among Porsches, like a guilty man among the innocent. The gate rose and these little cars succumbed to gravity and aerodynamics and greased wheels and, well, mine was out in the first round. There was no prize for originality or minimalism. I took my racer from the track. I wanted to light it on fire and send it down a dark San Franciscan hill. I didn't, though. I don't remember what I did with it. Now to forget the rest as easily. Woo. Fight lessons. Don't grip your thumbs. Don't hold them on top like that. Cross them over your knuckles. Keep your guard up. Think defense with your left, offense with your right. Fake with your right. Strike with your left. Keep them guessing. Make them guess wrong. Don't stand flat-footed. Bend your knees. Launch from your legs. Don't get thrown off balance. Remember, attitude is everything. First strike, everything else. Hate your opponent. Look him in the eye. Hate him! For God's sake, don't bite your tongue. Don't cry and don't fight dirty unless you know you can get away with it. A smart mouth will get you into it. A good stance could get you out of it. Cowardice will haunt you forever. Protect your nose. You have such a pretty nose, just like your mother's. Never let your guard down and never give up. Keep your pretty nose pretty. Okay, I'll see you next week. I love you.
Woo!
All right, moving right along. This is called Boots. I laced them up for the umpteenth thousandth time. My mother bought me these when I was 16 and had just been sentenced to a work farm, which she was none too pleased with me for having been sent there. I was marching off to hell, but I would go in sound footwear. They are covered in scars. The once black toes are just raw leather, evidence of a chainsaw that almost made it through. I revere these boots. I wonder what the boot odometer might say. 5, maybe 6 digits by now. I would polish them out of respect were there anything left to polish. It's been 3 decades now since I last did so when they passed inspection onto the day's work, breaking them in, creating blisters, calluses, wearing down the tread, the heels, the toes, the laces, traveling towards something routine and labor-intensive, something I did not want to do. They know my feet better than I do, supporting my arches as I fall in step, ready to go another mile, around the globe if I could go that far. I would be buried in these boots if I were to be buried. I would like to see them in a museum as sound example of classic footwear from our era. Upon reaching my last mile, I would love to give them to some snot-nosed punk with 10.5 sized feet on his way to jail and tell him. Hell, I wouldn't tell him anything, I'd just give him these boots. And this one's also by special request. The laundry. We return like old shirts hung and left to dry, easing out the wrinkles, absent buttons exposed, pockets sewn shut, where the drugs would wear away and unconsciousness might intervene, atop a plastic mattress, atop a concrete slab, a burlap blanket and stiff starched sheets, the crapper but an arm reach away, where it stunk of chartreuse and stale camels, and the door was locked and the barred window open, and the light was never on but never off, with no wind or air, while things clank and echo, and a TV is on from somewhere, and a radio is on from somewhere else, and Crazy Eddie's been screaming for the past 3 days, but usually it is never too loud here, and always it is never quiet. Cell number 1 is jacking off, and cell number 2 is doing push-ups, and cell number 3 is reading about Al Capone, and cell number 4 is listening as cell number 5 tells war stories to cell number 6, who has TP jammed in his ears. These young immortals, too many hormones, too much passion, zero introspection, seized with uncontrollable urges, cast upon a riptide of impulse within this tight closet of forced order, pressed back into presentability with all those labels we tried so hard to lose, reinstated and double-stitched.